Alright, so we're going to go through and implement some of our security standards and maybe check some of the settings. So I am, let's see, somewhere. Yeah, I'm logged into my sample server. I'm logged in as root, which clearly violates my security standard. It says the root user must not be able to log in directly. So we need to figure out where we can change all that stuff. So we're going to be doing SSH. We're going to skip these first three for now. We're not going to implement these. These are all about user. This podcast is all about users logging in, and depending how long it takes, maybe about IP tables too. So we're using SSH. SSH operation is dictated by the files in the etc SSH directory. Why not a CD over there? All right, so we have some files over here. There's an SSH config and an sshd config. The SSH config is the configuration that is used when you are SSHing from this system to some other system. So let's just see what's in there. So here's some stuff in here. Everything's commented out. You see the pound sign in front of it? These are the default settings. They're all commented out. So if you wanted to change a setting, you would come in and uncomment it and change it from no to yes or whatever. So this is the default settings we use when we are SSHing to some other server. We're going to be much more interested in the sshd config. sshd. What the heck, man? Oh, I need a file, huh? More. Let's VI it. sshd config. There we go. So this is sshd config. We're going to change some things in here, but for now we'll just look at some stuff. Here it says port 22. That's the default port for SSH. Some people like to change the port to a different non-standard port. Security by obscurity, that's usually referred to, and that'll save you from script kiddies and automated processes looking for SSH properly. But if you secure your SSH properly to only allow allowed IPs to connect, then it's not really that big a deal. Protocol 2 is specified. Protocol 1 is considered insecure, so we will not be using protocol version 1. Logging, we're logging the auth priv, blah, blah, blah. So some of the things we're going to change later on. We're not going to change it now. Permit root login is yes. We're going to change that to no because we don't want root to log in directly. And then there's one about passwords somewhere. Password authentication, we're going to change that to no. So we're going to make it so that we can only log in with keys. So we have a module about user management later on, but we're going to go ahead and do a little user management now because we have to. I said you must log in as some other user other than root first, so I need to create that other user. So I'll use the user add command to create me a special user account, a regular user account called that. So for fun, let me see, how do I want to phrase this? There is a decent chance that you could end up locking yourself out of the system by making configuration changes to your SSH config without properly testing in a sequential manner. So I say don't let root log in, right? You must log in as a regular user and you must use keys. So if you go through and you're like, oh hey, let me make all these changes now, and then you screwed something up, you don't let root log in anymore, and then you try to log in with your user with keys and that doesn't work, right? You have to log in with keys, but you didn't make sure your keys work, so you can't log in because your keys doesn't work, but you have to log in with keys. How are you going to get in? You're not. That's how you are. Actually, you could fire up the Virt Manager tool that we use to install, and you could use that to get to the console, and then you can modify some settings. So that's what you're going to have to do if you screw things up, or you could get me to fix it for you. So be careful what you're doing. So I created an RBE000 user. I'm going to set the password for me. Password RBE0000. Yeah, terrible password, thanks. So I set my password. So now I'm going to leave myself logged in as root, and then I'm going to go to some other system, and I'm going to try to log in as me, RBE1234. And my password was very secretive. All right, so now I'm logged in as me. So I said that we should use sudo to achieve elevated access. So now I want to see if I can get elevated access. And it's asking me for my password. Oh no, I'm not in the sudoers file. This incident will be reported. So now I'm going to go back over to my root account. I'm going to look at the sudoers file, etc sudoers. Right. I'm going to go through here and I'm going to figure out what I need to do. I'm pretty sure there's some stuff I can do pretty easily. So there. Allows people in the wheel group to run all commands. I'm gonna use this method of allowing access on my server. I'm not going to put each individual user in there. I'm going to put the permitted users in the wheel group, and I'm also not going to force my administrators to type the password every time. So my administrators can run any command without specifying their password. It says it's a read-only file, so I'm going to put an exclamation point. I just point it with my finger. Right, there's an exclamation point that says, yeah, read-only, who cares? Right, so I just put myself in the sudoers file, so I should be good now, right? Oh, wait. I should be good now, right? Where's my... All right, sudo-s. S just tells it to give you a root shell, which is how I usually roll. Why is it asking me for my password? It shouldn't be asking for my password, right? Because I put myself in. I said the wheel group. Oh, wait a minute. Wheel group. I'm not in the wheel group. So I need to put myself in the wheel group. So we can use the user mod command to specify groups. So I want to add the user to the supplemental groups. I'm going to append in a -G, -G, list of supplemental groups. So I'm going to do user mod -A-G wheel RBE1234. So that theoretically puts me in the wheel group. So now in theory, I should be able to SU. I might need to log out and log back in. Yeah, let me log out and log back in because maybe my user didn't pick up the group membership. Oh, hey, check it out. So I now am in the, now I'm root. I use the sudo-s to become root. So now I can, if we look at my ID, I'm in the wheel group. So my user can become root. So now I can disable root login because I know I can become root as my user, but I'm not going to do that yet. I'm going to do my keys at this point. So I'm going to go back out of here to cntserve, and I'm going to look in my .ssh directory, and I don't have a private key on this server. But what I do have is I have an authorized key files that has my other private key in it, authorized .ssh. This has my key from my Macs that I used when I connect directly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this file over to the other server so that I have an authorized keys that I already use on there, and I'm going to create another key. So let's go ahead and we'll use SCP to copy this file. I want to copy my authorized keys file to RBE1234 at 192.168.240.111:.ssh. So I want to put it in the SSH directory. Password. All right, so now if I go back up to this other server, there, up arrow. Yeah. Go back up to this other server. Now in my .ssh directory, What the heck? I apparently didn't have a .sh directory. So this is something you might screw up. Where am I at? This is something you might screw up. I apparently did not have a .ssh directory. So when I did this ssh command, this scp command, it put it in a file called .ssh. So now in order to fix that, I'm going to rename it using the move command back to authorized keys. So now my file is called authorized keys again, right? Now I'm going to create a .ssh directory, and now I'm going to move my authorized keys into my .ssh directory. So now I have a .ssh directory. The permissions are to open, so I'm going to go ahead and change that. 700.ssh, and then I'm going to go in there. I'm going to look at my authorized keys. The permissions are to open on that. So now I have an authorized keys file that my other key, the key I have it at home on my laptop, works from. I also want to have a key on CNT serve. So I'm going to do key gen. I'm going to generate a new key. First, let me see what my files are called. Yeah, so I'm going to generate a new key. ssh-key gen-t rsa. Enter file, yeah, that's fine. ID RSA, passphrase, I'll put a passphrase. Alright, so now if we look at my .ssh directory, I have my private key and my public key. I'm going to copy my public key to the remote host. Right, I'll put it in the .ssh directory. Alright, now my SSH back up there. Is it going to ask you for my key? No. Why didn't it ask me for my key? Why? Because I didn't put my file into my authorized keys. So if I look at my authorized keys file right now, there's one key in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cat my public key and redirect that with the redirect the output with the two, I'm pointing with my finger again, with the two greater thans to append it into my authorized keys file. Now if I cat my authorized keys file, now I have two keys in there. So now if I get out and I SSH up, it should ask me for my key. Yeah, so now it asks me for my passphrase, so it's using my key. So now I can log in with keys, and if I use sudo, I can become root. So I can now go in and modify my sshd config to require keys and to not let root log in directly. So we'll do that in two parts. First, I'll exit out of here, and I'll show you that I can still log in as root if I remember the password. So there, I got in as root. So now I'm going to go and I'm going to go modify the sshd config to disable root login. See, permit root login says yes, so I'm going to copy that line, get rid of the comment, and change that to no. So now I changed the file, so now if I go back and try to SSH as root, then it's not going to work. Hey, wait a minute. I thought it wasn't going to work. Oh yeah, you know what? It's Linux. I changed the file, but I didn't restart the service, so it didn't reread the file. So I'll restart sshd, and now if I try, it's not going to work. I hope. Yeah, so there. Failing. That's the thing about it, though, is it's not telling me that I don't have the right password or anything. It's just going to let me keep trying. So that was the first part. disable root login. The second part is require key-based authentication. So let's see. Yeah, so right now, let's see what I want to do over here. Right now, I'm going to become root on CNT serve. And now, the reason I'm doing this is because I want to try to log in as me with a password. 192. So with SSH, it looks for your private keys and it tries to use them if they exist. So if I tried to log in as me from my account, it would look for my private key. Well, I don't want to use my key. I want to do passwords. So that's why I'm logging in from root as me. And it's going to let me in. So my password still worked. Now I'm going to go back over here on the server and edit this sshd config again and disable password authentication. Permit root login, no, blah, blah, blah. Password authentication, yes. I'm going to go change this to no. And I'm going to restart sshd again. And now I'm going to try to log in as me with my password. Oh, hey, look at that. Passwords don't work anymore. It didn't even let me try with a password. It says, hey, no, look, you can try public key. You can try whatever this other stuff is, but that no passwords. So now if I go back to being me, so I'm me, I'm going to SSH as RBE1234 or 0000. Now it asked me for my passphrase, and it let me in. So let's go review what we've done. So I have already, let's see. So users must log in using SSH with key-based authentication. Check. The system must not allow clear text management or file transfer. Well, we didn't check that. If you know netstat -an, pipe into more. If you know what port stuff uses, you can check that using netstat. I'm listening on port 22, which is SSH. Localhost is listening on 25, which is mail. So telnet's 23, FTP's 21 and 20, TFTP's like 69, I think. I don't know what our login is. It's like 500 and some. So anyway, so I'm only allowing SSH, so that's good. So check. The root user must not be able to log in directly. I disabled root login in the etc sshd config file. Check. Administrative users must use sudo to run commands with elevated access. Well, I can use sudo to run commands. Can I just su directly? Well, I could, but I don't know the root password. So that's how you control who can use su. You set the root password to something really, really long and hard to remember. You write it down, and then you lock it away in a safe somewhere. So if some reason, some disaster occurs and nobody can use sudo, then you can go get the root password out of the safe and actually use su to become root. So yeah, so I've taken care of 4, 5, 6, and 7 with that SSH config. SSH access must be restricted to certain IP addresses using IP tables or TCP wrappers. The IP tables firewall must be running. IP tables must be configured to drop SSH packets. That sounds like a good thing, good place to stop and start a new podcast. So we'll do that next, IP table stuff.